I want to know what the hell is going on.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Screen Share and Chill, a podcast about movies. I'm Kelly.
I'm Keith.
I'm Jamie.
And today we're talking about user pick Dodgeball. A true underdog story? Is that the tagline? I don't have it up, but something like that. A true underdog story. The main sports movie of our generation. You want to talk about The Miracle on Ice? You want to talk about Mary Lou Retton from the 80s? Nothing compares to this underdog story. This was picked by Mike Lafleur. He picked this movie because he won our tier list anniversary contest.
And also because the main character's last name in the movie is also Lafleur. Don't forget that.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I have a note about that at one point. We'll get there.
Yes.
That's the only fathomable reason why he would have picked this movie, I think.
I mean, you got to give it credit because that is one of the... It's not a usual name you would associate with a movie. You don't usually take the hero of a movie and you give them the surname The Flower in French.
Yeah.
You know? It's unique about this movie. I can't think of another movie that has such an oddball character. Like me, a guy with the name Kelly. I never watch movies that have a guy named Kelly as the hero. That never fucking happens.
We've seen, there's one movie that has a heroic guy named Kelly.
I'm not sure which movie you're talking about unless you're playing fast and loose with the term hero.
Of course, I mean...
I'm not sure what movie you're talking about.
Of course, I mean Clerks 2.
Oh.
Guy can be a Kelly's name too. Wait,
Kelly.
Kelly can be a guy's name too.
Kelly can be a guy's name too.
Guy can be a Kelly's name too. Have you had your coffee yet?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I've had 2 sips out of my coffee.
Take a couple gulps.
Just have patience with me.
Take a couple big gulps of coffee because, whew.
That's the second big one like that you've done. What was the other one? Something about an axe? I don't know. We'll drop it.
I do that shit all the time. I inherited that from my mother. It's a common thing in my family.
What? Who has
It's genetic.
facts about this movie? Because I didn't bother to look anything up.
I've got a couple of facts. One, the budget was, according to Wikipedia, it was something like 20, but according to some other things I read, it was like 28, 23. It's safe to say it was around $20 to $30 million for the budget. The sales, as of the reporting, was 168 million, so it definitely did, it did better. Yeah, it did better dollar for dollar than like the Conan movies, than the Mummy movies. Like the ratio of return on investment was great on this movie. The other tidbit of note is on IMDb, this movie technically has a better ranking than Mummy 3, the last movie we reviewed.
No,
and
that's preposterous.
I thought that was an interesting little tidbit. That
you know what that tidbit is from? That's got to be people who haven't watched it in 20 years, like me, before we watched it this time.
Right.
I remember, I love that movie. I watched it in the theater, and I laughed my ass off. That was 20 years ago.
I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Sure. I mean, fat people are ugly and they're funny. So
right, and the gays, everyone.
Oh wait, things have changed a little bit in the last 20 years.
Yep.
Yeah, they did a couple little facts that people might not realize, that Ben Stiller and Christine Taylor. So the man that plays, what's his name, the enemy, the antagonist of this movie. Ben Stiller. Everybody knows fucking Ben Stiller.
White,
we'll just
White
call him
Goodman.
his name, though.
Yeah, White Goodman.
Yeah, White Good. Of course,
His name
first
is White.
White.
Yes.
I thought he was making a racist joke halfway or early in the movie, and I'm like, oh no, he's just spelling his name. All right.
But it fits.
Yeah, he and Christine Taylor were married for right before this movie or so. They had an 18-month-old baby at home when they started filming this, so all the Christine Taylor scenes, like, wow, I feel so like women putting themselves in these situations where they have to lose a bunch of weight and get super in shape so they can be ogled by millions of Americans, like not even 2 years after they have a baby. Like, wow, I mean, that's impressive, but man, I wish you didn't have to do that. Why didn't you just stay at home and eat fucking bonbons and enjoy yourself a little bit? You just popped a human out of you. Take a break.
Well, when millions of dollars are involved, you can probably pop up out of bed.
Yeah, I get it.
Hold up. Women aren't allowed to take a break after they have their kid, period. What are you talking about? Like, you might get 6 weeks of maternity leave. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you would think that the trickle down would work so that even though the poor people don't get to have a break, maybe the rich people do. No, I guess it's just pervasive
absolutely
in our
not
culture.
attractive women. They're not allowed to not be attractive at all.
Speaking of giving them a break, according to the director, a lot of the audience members during the dodgeball scenes were actually prison inmates that they hired as extras. I'm not sure how that works.
Okay. Well,
I'm not sure if I should be cheering that on or going
It's like,
to that, but
if they got paid, then good, I guess. You know?
Yep. The ending actually had two different filmed endings, and when they focus tested the first one, they ended up scrapping it and going with the second one. The first one was that the Average Joe's gym loses at the end, and it has a very melancholy ending, and maybe there was some kind of Deus Ex that shows up, but it ended up depressing the audiences so much that they turned to letting Average Joe win, and that's another reason why they have the box of money at the end that says Deus Ex Machina on the box. And that's what we refer to as lamp shading, is when you draw attention to something that you know is not a good storytelling thing, but you don't actually address it. This is the perfect and I know that that's kind of the joke, so I'm not even poking fun at the movie.
Sure.
But whenever you bring out a Deus Ex Machina and you title it Deus Ex Machina, that's what lamp shading is. If you ever hear us refer to something in the future.
Yes, if you were supposed to be taking this seriously, then that would be a huge, terrible fuck up. All right, well, why don't we start talking about the good?
Oh, wait. We have to go back because Kelly left out one crazy fact here.
Okay.
According to Rotten Tomatoes, this movie is one of Dame Helen Mirren's favorites.
What?
Right? Right?
I just want to ask Dame Ellen Mirren one question. Baby, are you high? Are you drunk right now when you made that statement? Like, I mean, even to the people that love this movie, I would think that even if you're a hardcore fan of this movie, you'd be like, really? Her?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I had to bring it up. Like, how do you...
It's not that it's someone's favorite movie, it's that it's Helen Mirren's favorite
Exactly.
Right, exactly. Dame Helen Mirren.
Yeah, it would be like finding out Queen Elizabeth loves this movie or something.
Right.
It's a very strange connection.
All right, so now let's talk about the good. Yeah, well, Kelly, why don't you start us off? Because I know you probably have a few, so let's bookend with you.
I'll just go down a few of the actors that I really enjoyed and get them out in kind of one lump.
Sure.
Vince Vaughn, I really enjoyed Vince Vaughn, even though he said some things and he did some things that he's supposed to be a little bit unlikable at times. There's no denying that he's got this kind of charisma where I want him to be one of my buddies. Like if I'm going to go out drinking or if I'm going to go out to the bars, he's the guy that I want to call and come with me so that we can make fun of people together.
Mm-hmm.
Christine Taylor, absolutely beautiful. I think I've just had a crush on her most of my adult life. And I think she did really well. Now, then finding out after I watched the movie about her being just recently postpartum, that's incredible because she's so fucking attractive in this movie. There's no denying that she's just gorgeous from start to finish in this whole movie. And Alan Tudyk as the pirate man. He was so good. How does that man do so much with so little?
Yeah,
He's so brilliant.
Let's go ahead and talk about him since you brought him up, because he's like the little spark of light in this movie for me. Like every now and then you just hear a gar. Like brings your attention back to the fact that the dread pirate Steve is present. Yeah.
Right.
I imagine being an actor and seeing the script and every once in a while it just says gar on the screen and you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? How do I turn this into humor? Or how do I turn this into... So like a real testament to some solid acting in a movie that might not have even needed as much effort as he brought.
Is that how you pronounce his last name? Tudyk?
Yes.
I've always thought so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I might be wrong, but...
It's a funny sounding name, huh? Tudyk.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyks.
And again, I am reminded that I am co-hosting this with 12-year-old.
It's like his mafia name. Hey, it's little Allie Tudyks.
So that means that he's a Klingon. Star Trek reality confirmed right there.
Yeah.
Klingons have redundancy in all of their organs.
So you had to bring up the Star Trek already, even though you already had the gimme of the Star Trek connection here.
Oh, right. Yes. There is a Star Trek connection baked right into the pie. I love it when movies do that.
Like a very obvious one, too.
I'm seeing double 4 Klingon testicles. Is that the case?
That's kind of, yeah. I mean, that's implied. We don't actually ever see a close-up of Klingon genitals in the series.
Thank God.
Hey, you speak for yourself, young lady. I would like to see the Star Trek franchise go in a more X-rated direction.
To boldly go?
I'm sure that you can find that on
Yes.
the internet. Mm-hmm.
To boldly bone where no one has boned before.
1,000% that's on the internet somewhere. Feel free to find it, Cal.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a Star Trek the Next Generation porn parody.
Of course.
And it was actually written by somebody that's a fan of Star Trek, and some people have rated it. Like, there are Star Trek The Next Generation episodes that rank lower on Star Trek ranking scales than that porn parody. It's an okay episode of Star Trek with a lot of dick and tits in it.
Okay, so look, there is also, to get back on track to things that matter, Star Wars is also baked in, because Alan Tudyk is K2SO from Andor and Rogue One, so let's not overshadow that. Just some of the lines and some of the background stuff that, you know, that help make that, like, keep this afloat in spite of itself is when the dog is waking him up on the couch and he just casually says, no Grundle. One of his magazines is Obscure Sports Quarterly. It's just shit like that. That's like something you'd see in The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Ben Stiller is kind of my shining light, aside from, because Alan Tudyk is a little too infrequent to be like the main thing that I liked in the movie, but Ben Stiller playing White Goodman is like, you're not supposed to like that guy. He's obviously doing everything terrible of, like, the most, like, cringe asshole you can imagine. And for me personally, that kind of stuff makes me laugh. Like, his character is, I believe he even said he's playing the same character that he played from an earlier movie, Heavyweights. It's like the same type of guy.
He said it was a copy paste. Like, he doesn't have the same name, the same backstory, but he copy pasted his performance from one movie to the other.
Because, like, I feel like most of the other people saying terrible shit in this movie is you're kind of supposed to be mostly rooting for, but you're not supposed to be rooting for him. Like, at all.
Yeah, the movie is very selective over what kind of gross comments you're supposed to be rooting for. Like, the ones coming from Ben Stiller, no. That's not what cool people root for. The ones coming from Vince Vaughn, absolutely. Ding, ding, those are the ones that are okay.
I kind of think that the movie is telling you that every single person in this movie is a horrible, shitty person, but White's the worst.
Except for Christine Taylor, whatever her
Yes.
name is. I should probably bring up the cast list, but
Yeah.
the woman, she's like the only decent person.
Kate Veach.
Yeah, Kate Veach. And there are a couple of the goers to the Average Joes
Yeah.
are pretty decent people. You know, like the young guy and stuff like that. Even though he helps the cheerleaders, he comes back and helps the dodgeball, you
But
know.
they kind of all have their own horribleness. I mean, like,
They're all fucked up.
Right. Even and I can't think of his name, the one that he has to get angry, whatever his name is.
With his mail order bride?
Yes. Exactly. He went and got a mail order bride.
The special bond you share with your mail order bride?
Right.
That's one of the lines in the movie.
Yes.
This movie came before the word cuck was really in our vernacular, but that movie, if this movie was made today, that word would have been thrown around a dozen times.
Oh, absolutely.
And literally all I can think when I see him is still his red swing line stapler. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Even because he wears glasses in this
Yep.
movie, too. It just invites the comparison.
It goes to show what a good actor that actor is, too. That's a huge swing between I just want my stapler back and, you know, pissed off at his mail order bride, so he beats the shit out of somebody in Dodgeball. It's a pretty good swing.
I don't know. He set the place on fire in Office Max because he was angry. So he has anger issues in both.
Yeah, that's true.
My goods is that I think that the opening makes you hate White immediately. Like, there is no chance that you're ever going to kind of like that guy because instantaneously you hate him.
He tells his workers before they clock out to go add 3 pounds to the women's
scale. Yeah.
It's so cruel and funny. It's so cruel. Like, it's what a shitty thing to do as a gym owner.
Right.
And like, that's just the character.
And he does it with gusto on his face, too. Like, I know I'm doing the right thing right now. I'm a righteous instrument of God doing
Yep.
God's work.
Yes.
Like, no, you're just a creepy fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
I love one of the background things like you were talking about. I love that the video clerk's calling, which by the way is Patton Oswalt's voice.
Yes.
And he's talking about the movies that are late, which are 2 porn movies and then Mona Lisa Smile. Like that made me laugh because it's such a weird combination, but it made me laugh.
No, anyone that used to go to movies in that era where you would actually like rent adult movies knows that he got the sandwich all wrong. You get 2 award-winning movies and 1 porn movie. You put the porn movie between the 2 award-winning movies. That way it looks like you're very cerebral as you're walking through the video store.
Yes.
And only the clerk knows that you really got Jugs of Their Own
Mhm.
2.0 or something, you know?
But again, it comes back to the fact that Pete is also a psychopath. He's just a better psychopath, a nicer psychopath, a more likable psychopath than White. Because he is. This is definitely prime Vince Vaughn. He looks good. He's acting his ass off. You like him, but you hate him.
Well, and you're absolutely right about a lot of times in these movies, the hero, the main protagonist, is not that far off from the villain. And a lot of times it's just framing, music, and edit that makes you like him more. Like we're told by the language of movies.
Like Daniel in Karate Kid, right? Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
Well, I mean, you know what? You bring it up that way, and that's a good point, because if you watch Cobra Kai, you get the other side of it, and you see how this guy just moved into town, was kind of acting like a dick to some people, and then beat the shit out of some,
yeah.
depending on your point of view. And I don't know. It's interesting to me that like Vince Vaughn, because of the editing, because of his natural charisma, because of yada yada, all the things that come into it, we find ourselves rooting for him. And it's the language of film almost. The language of film tells you who you're supposed to root for, even if it makes it difficult. Like look at Sopranos, the episode of The Sopranos where Tony finally kills somebody on screen. It was a big hullabaloo for people watching the show because, wait, this is our hero. We're supposed to root for him. Why do you say that? Why are you rooting for a mob boss then? What's wrong with you then?
Right.
You
Did you not think that he actually did these things? He did. He just didn't do them on screen.
Just because the camera follows him around doesn't mean that he's a good person.
The other big thing that I love about this is the absolute reality of how real the financial conversations were, where like people are like, I don't care. I don't keep my receipts. Why would I need to keep my receipts? As somebody who works in the financial world, this speaks to my soul. What do you mean we need $172,000?
So you're saying that closet had the same effect on you as the bookcases falling had on me with the mummy?
Yes. Yes.
A closet full of receipts and unfiled tax returns from the last 10 years, and you're going, what the fuck am I looking at?
Right. Exactly. Why would I have to keep track of that? Because you have to, because that's your job. It's your job to keep track of it, not somebody else's.
I like
yours.
when he said about it, it's like, I thought those were warnings. She's like, they were.
Yeah.
They were. Yeah.
I have literally heard those words. Those words have come out of people's mouths.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think I had to take it seriously. You do. You do. So there's that part of it that just scratches my brain.
I suffer slightly from that a little bit. Like, let me ignore this bill because I don't like it very much. You know, that'll.
I mean, we all do that sometimes with bills. Like,
The idea that the attorney for the place that's trying to buy out your business would come over and help you clean your closet and do all your taxes for the last 10 years for free is a little absurd, right?
She was just trying to get laid. That's what that was.
Yeah, and that's what it's like. We're supposed to think that Vince Vaughn hitting on her is kind of like without reason. But we're not seeing the other side of it, is that this beautiful attorney just showed up in your office and said, we're going to sue you. Let me help. And starts cleaning your fucking house. And you're like, oh, so you like me, huh? No, I don't like you. Well, then why the fuck are you here doing all this stuff?
Right. I think that points out, though, too, like, again, with the whole fact that White and Pete are both awful. White hits on her and it's disgusting and we know that he's taking advantage of a situation. Pete hits on her and we're supposed to think it's cute and admirable. She's still working for you. You're still hitting on somebody who's in a professional position working with you. It's gross either way.
And their levels of like kind of like subtle and nonchalant sexism. It's almost like White and Vince Vaughn are they're playing the same band through the speakers. One's just turned up to 10 and the other one's turned down to 7.
One of them's entitled to the girl, obviously, right? The
hero is because that's who
right.
that's who the camera's following most of the time.
The government assigned girlfriend. One of them has to be the better man, right? That's how you get her.
Yep.
Yeah. You just turn down your sexism to a subtle 7. And you're good to go.
A subtle,
but you know what?
A subtle room shaking 7. Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that we joke about it now, but part of the reason why we're joking about it, I think, is because that it was a sign of the times. This isn't even a negative against the movie. This is definitely just a sign of the time that it came out of, and this is kind of what men were being taught, at least by each other, to each other, kind of thing. That like it's natural to think blank about women. But we don't make jokes about that. You can make jokes kind of similar to that, but you just don't cross this X line in the sand. I know it sounds very arbitrary, but this is and men weren't having these explicit conversations, but this is what we were kind of teaching each other. That you're allowed to be a little bit sexist. Just don't go over the deep end and start saying, well, women are lazy and they just need men all the time. Well, now we've completely flipped the script. Here we are 20 years later, and Andrew Tate's out there going, women are lazy and they need men to take care of them. And
gross.
So it's funny that we're like judging 2003 or whatever, this 2004 when this movie came out for the blatant sexism. And in a lot of ways, our world is a million times worse right now. So, I
can
films,
flat out tell you that. Yeah. I can flat out tell you when this movie came out, I was all about, like, I want to find a guy like Pete. That's a great guy. No, he's not. But in my head at that time, absolutely.
Yeah, because that's what our culture was telling us was acceptable behavior. This is what a nice guy did. He would make sexist jokes.
An average Joe.
So, all right, any other goods? We got more goods. Well, give me one, Keith.
I have some goods. When they're talking about how they're going to save the gym, and he's like, well, if an impromptu car wash doesn't raise enough money to save it, I don't know what we're going to do. Like,
yeah. An impromptu car wash that we did nothing to market. If that doesn't save us, then we've tried everything.
And then the guy says, we could sell blood and semen, and everyone looks at him, and he goes, well, not mixed together.
Yes, I laughed at that. Not together, not mixed together.
Yeah, genuine laugh out of me. Yeah, that's very good.
There's a lot of little jokes like that get me every time.
The supporting characters were a lot of fun. And like I said, the actors themselves did a really good job. They were all endearing in their own way. Like even the guy that delivered that, I forget his name, but the guy that was always wearing the headband, he was great. He did a good job.
What amount of truth, if any, and forgive me if I don't know, but I just don't know, what amount of truth, and if any, is there to the fact that dodgeball is a Chinese sport invented by opium-addicted Chinamen? That's what they say is the history of dodgeball. Is that anywhere near true?
I'm
sure it's not by the opium-addicted blah blah blah. And now I got to look it up.
His words, not mine. Sure, but I'm just quoting the movie.
It started in Africa. Okay. Dr. James Carlisle, a Christian missionary, brought the sport back to St. Mary's College in Norfolk.
So that's just an absolute fabrication of the movie, is it?
Absolutely. I actually see that there are some suggest that dodgeball-like games existed in ancient Greece.
I just did a Google search for it, and one of the results that came up was the question is, did the Chinese invent dodgeball? The answer is, unfortunately, opium-addicted Chinamen who threw severed heads at each other were not the founders of dodgeball.
Good. Yeah.
The first sentence in the answer addresses the movie's claim.
Yeah, great.
Oh, gee, right there. Do you see how incredibly racist this one little statement is?
Yes,
right.
But it's. I mean,
and this is the way culture works.
It got a laugh out of me because it's so absurd. That's the way it was. The way it was showing that is like that was an old video from like the 40s, explaining about dodgeball.
Yeah. And obviously it's satire. And those of us, like the three of us sitting here, we knew better and we saw it as satire. But even then we're like, wait a minute, let's look that up to make sure. You realize how many people watch this movie that didn't bother to fucking look it up and that are so mentally incurious that they just took that as fucking fact. So much so that when I do a Google search for who invented dodgeball, one of the first responses is, no, opium-addicted Chinamen who threw severed heads at each other did not invent dodgeball.
That's the best thing this movie has done. has made that Google search a thing.
Raised awareness. Well, no, lowered awareness about Chinese severing heads and throwing them at each other to invent dodgeball.
That tickles.
I think in general, those dodgeball films, they're insane, but they're such accurate parodies of what like those films were when we were in school, where you'd see these ancient films about things and they were so out of date and they didn't make any sense and they were stupid and you were like laughing at them the whole time. That makes me laugh because I remember watching films like that
like
in school.
the sex
ed
videos
Yeah.
they show you in school are like that.
I got a lot of sports. One with about square dancing, shit like that. Yep. And you know, I will say this is a first for me doing the pod that I've just now added. After a conversation about the Chinese sever heads, I've now added something to my ugly column. That's never happened before since we started the Good, Bad, and Ugly. I've never added to the ugly column during the episode. So,
but it cracks me up because I feel like we've all been there. We've all seen those movies and they probably had just as much false information about it because at that time people liked to make up things about different cultures and pretend like they were true. And that's how rumors got started and stereotypes got started. So.
But I don't know about other like generations or how different subcultures might have absorbed that information. But like, at least for me, when we were in gym, anytime we saw one of those videos, we all just looked at each other like, okay, we're about to see a bunch of bullshit for the next 5 minutes or whatever it is. Yep. We didn't believe whatever was happening on the screen. Maybe in the 40s and the 50s, they believed the shit they saw on moving pictures. But by the time I was a kid, we kind of took it for granted that nothing you see on TV is true unless they specifically put disclaimers beforehand.
I would think that if you look around the situation that we are currently in, not a lot of people had that same mentality.
Hey, different generations, my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like different skills, different pros and cons for each generation of people that come out. And one of theirs is that I guess they've gone back to, it doesn't even have to be on TV. If there's a YouTube video that says that vaccines cause autism, then it must be fucking true.
All right, who else has some good? Because I have some, but I'm going to rapid fire them off when everyone else is done.
I have a lot of good too, but I do have to ask Mike, specifically Mike, I want to know how many times you have said you're hooked on Lafleur after you watch this movie. Because I know you brought it out at least once after watching this movie.
I'm curious
let us know.
What date this movie comes out on. If this is this a first date movie for Mike? Is this a third date movie? Because you know you've got to throw it out there because the main character references his own name, and
I wonder if he hasn't seen it in 20 years like me. And if you haven't, Mike, you need to make yourself rewatch it like you made us.
You have to subject yourself to the same torture. No, it wasn't.
I love the fake out by the Girl Scouts. That cracked me up, like where they're like crying because how could you hit a little girl? And then they just wail on them. That made me laugh.
Yeah, cool. I feel bad because I don't have a response to that because it didn't make me laugh. And anything I say back sounds very condescending and rude. So I'm just like, I'm happy for you. That's great.
Good for you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the little quips in this movie that are totally my sense of humor. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Yeah, I think it's a smile.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about why that doesn't work for me as well when we get to the other columns.
The Ocho, you gotta love the Ocho. The ESPN 8. Where they say,
I mean, they predicted the future. By now, there's got to be like 6 different stations. They're on their way.
If it's almost a sport, we've got it here. That's their slogan. That's pretty good.
I think it's crazy that this movie actually spawned dodgeball leagues. Adult dodgeball became a thing because of this movie.
Yeah, it's an adversarial sport. Like it's kind of the whole point is to beat the shit out of somebody. Kind of. It's like
very aggressive.
But then again, a bunch of dojos opened up after Karate Kid. So
right.
That's when I started taking karate. Is me and my mom and dad went to see Karate Kid, and they all decided it's a good idea for him to get a Mr. Miyagi, not realizing that the dojo is just some white guy teaching me how to kick a wall.
Right. Yeah. But again, you were a child. These were adults that went out and started leagues because of a movie.
So I'll get into it more in the bad that I didn't really identify with White very well. I didn't get into it as much as a lot of other people did. But one thing he did that I absolutely fucking loved, and I want to get a gif of it because I want to use it in online arguments, is when he gets on his moped and gives him the double birds and drives away with an angry face with double birds on a fucking moped.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Unironically, I love that. I
Being
want to
driven
like
by somebody else.
Yeah.
Being driven by somebody else.
if I ever run into an ex that things ended poorly and I'm like, and I'm just gonna go back on with my life. I'm doing great, and I would love to get on a moped and turn around and give them the double finger and the angry face and have the person drive away while I'm staring at them with the double birds. I love that scene. That was fucking wonderful.
Their accidental S&M outfits for the first match that got a smile out of me. I thought that was kind of a almost bordering on clever joke for this movie.
The person they picked to be daddy, the one that was leading the S&M group, that I will give that it's always the ones you least expect.
David Hasselhoff revealed as the coach for the Germans. That was funny to me.
Do people even get that joke anymore? It was such a blip even then, you know?
Germans fucking love David Hasselhoff. That was a known quantity in those days.
But it's not as big. It's like he had one album that sold 1 million copies.
Uh-huh.
It's not like he's like revered. They don't like worship him in Germany. He was just mildly popular musically in Germany for 1 year.
Yeah.
The only place he was mildly popular.
That's the funny part is nobody else
Right.
gave a fuck, but Germany, they kind of liked him a little bit.
The Lumberjacks with a shout out to Jason Bateman as the other announcer on the Ocho, where we get the
bold strategy.
yeah,
Good old Pepper.
He says
and his neck tattoo that I didn't realize until like we've already seen him for 20 minutes or so, and then I see the neck tattoo and I'm like, oh my god, this totally checks out this imaginary person that they've invented.
He's just playing such a total like cheese bag, like that's who that announcer is. Like,
he's the kind of guy where you're convinced he's tweaking and you're like, are you on fucking crystal meth right now? He's like, no, bro, I'm completely sober, straight over 15 years now. And you're like, okay,
right.
All right.
Well, so the Lumberjacks come out and they're saying something about how, they probably haven't seen a woman in months. And he's like, yeah, they must masturbate a lot, Cotton.
Well, yeah, that checks out. That's true.
Yeah. I feel like he's like the parody of all the athletes that become announcers after the fact and aren't very good at it, but they need to do something and they kind of know about the sport.
The luck of the Irish sign falling on Patches to kill him. I think that's probably maybe the most clever joke in the movie.
Uh-huh.
Hey, I think we've alluded to this before. People assume the luck of the Irish means you have good luck.
Right.
If you look at the history of the Irish people, we don't exactly have the best luck overall. So
I used to think it meant good luck until you actually clued me into that, Kel, and I have Irish heritage, so even I took it wrong, but I think
it just adds an extra layer to the jokes. Yeah.
And of course, this is my second to last, but our brand new sound clip, presenting it here for you, everyone. Cram it up your cramhole, Lafleur.
Cram it up your cramhole, Lafleur.
And finally, it's another one of those stupid little quips in the script that probably goes largely unnoticed, but the announcer, when they win, instead of saying, do you believe in miracles, he's like, do you believe in unlikelihoods? And that tickled me.
A direct callback. And that's, again, one of those jokes that I wonder, do people understand that anymore? Like, because I grew up with, it was old when I was a kid. Like, I knew about it because people talked about it, but not because I watched The Miracle on Ice. I was only 2 years old or whatever when that happened.
They just made a movie about The Miracle on Ice, though, so.
Yeah, and it was a good movie. It was a good movie, yeah. If you're talking about the one with Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed that movie. I thought it was really good.
7 years ago, just.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm a hockey fan, though, so.
Right.
My last good that we have not already touched on is, I don't know if this is good or if it's just an observation, but Rip Torn belongs in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
he looks like
I could 100% see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He seems out of place in this world the way he talks, but imagine a conversation between him and the Hound.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think that's all of our good.
It's all of our good. That means it's time to talk about the bad.
All right, I'm going to start things off with...
Well, actually, let me start. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you to start it off because the first note that I made for this movie was a bad note, and that It's that it was not an Alien movie because I was under the assumption that we were going to be watching Alien Resurrection to continue our series. And then suddenly someone said, like, oh, we need to watch the movie for the contest winner. And I was like, oh, no, you're right. It was like the day before. I was all, like, geared up to watch oh, boy, we're going to watch Alien tomorrow. That was me, like, all week looking forward to it. And then, like, the day before, it was like, oh, we're watching Dodgeball. So the first thing that this movie did that was bad was it's not an Alien movie.
Did you hear that, Mike? The first bit of disappointment Keith had was when he realized he had to watch your movie. He was like, you know what? I was looking forward to having fun with my friends, but instead I had to watch the movie that Mike fucking made us.
Yes, to give it a fair shake and all. It's not an Alien movie.
I'm sorry, I remembered that we promised Mike we would do it after The Mummy. All right, jeez.
I feel like that was the first moment where you wanted to say, cram it up your cramhole, little boy.
Cram it up your cramhole, Lafleur.
Well, I want to get the misconception out of the way. This is not necessarily a bad for this movie. It just happens to be here because it makes sense. It's bad. They quote the idea that urine is sterile. It is not sterile. Whoever thinks that urine is sterile, it's literally biomedical waste. It's like you don't save it.
Host told me it was.
No, it is not sterile. It is not. It's specifically all the shit that your body doesn't want in it. It's all the bad stuff. Anyways. So yeah, this movie makes that claim saying, oh well, we can just use urine. Urine's sterile, and it's like no, it's not. Listener at home, don't. It's urban myth.
Excuse me, the Secretary of Health and Human Services told me that I should be drinking up to 3 cups of my own urine a day.
Fucking Christ.
And you should swim in the Potomac.
Shine bleach and sunshine up your asshole to get rid of a respiratory virus.
If you drink urine at least 3 times a day, it strengthens your brain worms.
We keep this up, we're going to be considered a medical misinformation podcast. Oh, who am I kidding? There are no rules anymore. Fuck it. Fuck it. Go drink your pee. Enjoy the flavor, you dumb fuck.
Now, listener, while they're talking about that, this is a plea from me directly to you. Jamie and Kelly can't hear me. I'm speaking directly to you. You need to subscribe and download. Make sure that you set your podcatcher of choice to subscribe and to auto-download, because it would really, really, really impress Jodie Foster and also kill John Lennon.
Jamie, do you think he knows his mic was on that whole time?
I don't think he does, and I think I'm a little concerned about Keith.
Oh,
we might need to schedule an intervention after this.
Guys could hear that?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah. I might get some comments from the audience. But speaking of comments, if you have things that you want to say to us, find us on YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, ko-fi.com/screenshare. You can let us know what you think. We're always, after every episode, people are talking about stuff that's going on in the Discord, so we try to respond to any questions there, because heck, Discord is where we're very active, but we have lots of funny memes going on at Facebook and Insta and Blue Sky, and YouTube is just a great place to listen to the podcast if you prefer to do it on that platform, over one of the podcasting ones.
You could give us a review. A review on any or all of the platforms would be great. It would help other people see us, because we all know that everything now is linked to algorithms, and reviews, especially reviews with words, get things pushed out further.
Did you see that we got a 1-star review somewhere? I don't know if I mentioned this to y'all, but we got a 1-star review somewhere. You did. Yeah, and they didn't tell us why. And I'm like, damn it, you took away all the fun.
Right.
Yeah.
You just told us we suck without telling us how we suck. Like, did you not take a lesson from the podcast? You have to at least explain how a thing sucks if you say it sucks.
Yeah, we would have read it on air if they were.
Absolutely.
Even if it's just, I don't know why it sucks, it's just the vibe that sucks.
I mean, if it was something like Kelly's social security number is blah, 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 I might not have read that out loud if they were right, but anything else, sure, we would have had a good time reading it. You missed an opportunity, reader, listener.
But that is ways to help without giving money, but you could just give us money.
That works too.
ko-fi.com/screenshare. Throw us some money. We'll watch a movie. We'll review the movie that you want us to watch. Hell, you could just give us money for nothing. I mean, who cares?
It helps cover the cost of every time we have to rent one.
Yeah.
Because every time we don't rent one, we run into subtitles and other issues and stuff. So help us afford. Help these poor living on the streets. We're panhandling. So throw us a dirty sock or something.
We make sure that Van Halen's right now is playing in the background as we give this spiel.
We're living on a prayer.
Yeah. You know those commercials that make you sad with the dogs? Well, that's like, just consider us like those dogs.
Oh my gosh, Keith, do we need to record an ad with our dogs looking sad?
Yeah, I think we do. Because they're gonna put us down if you don't give us some money to watch a movie.
Did you know for only 50 cents a day, you too can sponsor a lonely
podcaster
podcast host?
Yeah.
These children rely on only 15 cents a day to afford their movie habit. Do your part.
Yes, do your part. Anyway, let's get back to talking about movies.
Keith, can we see you over here for a minute? I think we need to discuss something.
What's that?
Yeah. Let's talk about that John Lennon line, buddy.
Nothing. The white jacket. There's nothing you need to worry about with that. It's just a hug jacket.
You guys have been real the whole time?
No.
No. Oh my god.
My first bad. It should surprise nobody at this point. White's hair is bad. And I had to comment it because.
I mean, that's part of. I feel like that's part of the character, though. Like
it is. It absolutely is. But I still have to make the comment.
It's still tough to look at.
Well, because you with hair, you always glomming onto the hair. So yeah. You had to pick somebody, and everybody else's hair is just kind of unremarkable for the most part. Right. So,
but his hair is awful. And, well, Kate Beach's is pretty good. She's got some pretty good hair.
Well, and you got to remember, too, that his hair, if it was a movie set in the 80s, that would, like, if you go watch Lethal Weapon 1 and compare Mel Gibson's hair in Lethal Weapon 1 versus White's hair in this movie, they're almost exactly the fucking same. So, like, it's all a matter of context. In the early 2000s, having Mel Gibson mullet from the 80s wasn't a good thing.
Have you seen that meme of Mel Gibson in the flannel from the 80s smoking the cigarette, and it says 1980s moms waiting for you to open your Christmas presents?
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Dude,
like,
watching Cheers and realizing that I'm older than almost everybody on the fucking cast of Cheers, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't look anywhere near as old as these people.
And Golden Girls.
Oh, I don't. Anyways. Ouch. That was.
Yeah.
Crammed up your Cramhole.
the fact that I hate it when movies do this, and this is more of me. It automatically gives me the assumption that you are a bad actor if your name in the movie is the same as your name in real life. Like you can't handle your name being something else, and so Justin Long's character's name is Justin, and it's unfair, I suppose, because he's done a couple of things that I like, but it just puts a sour cheese face on me where I'm like, yo, too stupid to be called anything but Justin, are you? It's like the most judgmental thing ever that comes out of me, but for some reason
it sounds like you're channeling your inner Rip Torn, like, what the hell's wrong with this mentally slow piece of shit?
You can't handle being called another name there, Justin?
Yeah, throw out a couple slurs and you got Rip Torn's movie.
Yep.
The Lance Armstrong scene did not age well.
Nope.
Right? I had that note too. But it holds up and it doesn't hold up because he's just a piece of shit just like everybody else in the movie.
Yeah, really. Like him giving advice to Vince Vaughn's character, I'm like, okay, well, I can see why Vince Vaughn has turned out this way because he's taking advice from some questionable people.
Right.
Like where did we end with Lance Armstrong? I know he went through a phase where like everybody hated him and then everybody liked him again and then everybody hated him and then what is
he
the
definitely
current
cheated.
I don't know. Kevin Spacey's back, by the way. Have you heard of that?
No, that's an immediate. Like I can't even watch House of Cards. I got like through 2 seasons of it and I wanted to continue watching and I can't now because like it just feels weird. I can't focus on what's going on because I'm thinking about all the other bullshit that's going around it.
Yeah, no, I mean, he didn't win anything at this point, so does it really matter where he stands on anything else?
It's really all that matters, right? Is the results and Keith, give us a bad.
I mean, I'm pretty much out of bad. The rest is in my ugly, but just what I used to laugh at. I wrote this in the bad column because I remember, for whatever reason, when I saw this in theaters as a young man, as a 22-year-old man, the whole wrench to the face and the thing about having to drink my own urine, I think those might have been my biggest laughs, and now they just aren't funny to me. It's weird how much my taste has changed, seeing how much a lot of my taste has changed has stayed the same. But I just wanted to point that out, that's no longer funny to me. That's just like, that's irreverent with no actual meat on the joke there. It's
shock value.
Yeah, it's just but it's not even shocking. It's just weird, strange. You know, it doesn't hold the water that it once did for a younger me. Maybe it's because I've seen so much more shock and weird and stranger things since then that no longer carries. But yeah. What about you?
Yeah, and that dovetails right into my final bad, which is, I just wrote it as cringe in general, quote, or parentheses, for me. I don't really get into this style of humor, and I don't mean to say any of this as like I'm speaking down from a hill of prominence. It's just two different flavors. Some people like dry cheesecake, some people like wet cheesecake. You know, different strokes for different folks, and cringe humor for me, it doesn't land. The easiest way for me to explain it is that if you watch these characters that are in the scene with White, how they respond, I feel that exact same way watching the movie. I'm watching the movie and my face is scrunching up and I'm like, no. And everybody around me is laughing and I'm like, I don't understand. I feel like Data in Star Trek looking around going, I don't understand the point of humor. If this is funny, I don't understand what's funny about this. Well, it's funny because he's really dumb. Yeah, I feel pity for him. Like I don't want to be around him because he doesn't realize how pitiable he actually is. I don't want to watch this happen. Oh, it's hilarious. I'm not trying to say the people that feel that way are wrong. I just don't feel that way. So this movie, 90% of the jokes just completely landed like a wrench to the face to me.
Yeah, that's a nice little segue that you have there.
Thanks.
And see, a lot of the jokes didn't do it for me, but like I said earlier, I like the Ben Stiller over the top cringe characters because I don't know, it's like you said, different strokes for different folks. So we have a different opinion on that because it's so outlandish, because he's saying the worst thing you can imagine a person saying. I don't know, that kind of does it for me. So
yeah, and again, I recognize people are different, so it's just a matter of it. The joke is said to the room, 8 people laugh, 2 people look around going, I don't get what's funny about that. Even when you explain it to me, I understand why. I understand the words you're saying, but that even thinking about it that way doesn't trigger that response. But I'll go out and watch Monty Python, and seeing a cow get catapulted over a wall is hilarious to me, and other people are looking at me going, why does that? And I'm like, it's so absurd. That's why it's so funny, you know.
It's like the same thing. It's the same reason, like applied to a different thing. Yeah,
exactly. And for some reason, my brain doesn't really tick with this because I feel too much pity and watching it.
You're too empathetic for the real world application of what this horrible man.
I rearranged my healing crystals 3 times after watching it. I saged my house.
All right, sounds.
You sage is a closed practice.
What do they call that when you sage a house? It's got some kind of weird name.
You're cleansing it with sage. You're saging it.
I know, but there's like another phrase that the Wiccans use. Using sage on your house phrase. Oh God, I just typoed the fuck out of that. I'm trying to type while we're recording. Smudging. That's what it is. Smudging. I smudge my house and it always makes me think that they're like smearing the ash on the wall. Anyways, I don't know why we paused the pod for me to do that.
Using sage is a closed practice, and unless you're Native American, you should not be doing that. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, okay. I've heard people, the same people that, you know, anyways, I'm going to let that go just in case I don't want to offend the crystal moms out there.
Crystal moms? This sounds like some kind of Final Fantasy shit.
I feel like I'm offended
or
at the
crystal
moment.
meth. I don't know. It could go a couple different directions.
Jamie, do you have any more bad?
Nope. All the rest of mine are all in ugly.
All right. Well, it sounds like it's time to talk about the ugly, maybe the fugly for this movie.
Well, my new edition, Chinese severed heads. That's I didn't really think about the
opium addicted.
Yeah, the social ramifications of that joke being made and how some people probably take it a bit too seriously to this day. So yeah,
absolutely, there are people that would take it too seriously.
My main and overarching ugly is we have already coined the term on this very show of Acme sexism. Well, now we have Acme homophobia.
Yep.
And this was...
I don't even know that this is Acme.
Yep, just casual.
I mean, it was...
If you see a woman that looks slightly masculine, you got to call her... Pick a slur.
Yeah.
I don't even feel... Like I was saying before the pod started, like, as a gay man, I feel like I'm allowed to use the F slur. I choose not to, even though I'm allowed to.
What if you...
I don't think I'm allowed to use the D slur. I mean...
or the M slur, or the...
I feel like maybe it's more effective if you say it and then just bleep it, because these are the words we had to hear, you know what I mean, in this movie.
Yeah, well, so I'm allowed to say fag or faggot, but I choose not to, because I know that even though it doesn't really bother me to hear it, I know that there are some members of the community that were abused and beat down with that phrase being screamed in their ears, so I choose not to put them through that kind of trauma. It's easier for me just to use a different fucking word. I have plenty of words in my vernacular to pick from, so... yeah, but the other word would be and muff diver, things like this that they were saying. Queer bait, yep. A lot of like adjacent words that they were trying to, like, it wasn't full on. You could tell that they didn't see this on par with saying like the N-word or any other racial slurs or anything like that. But they knew that it had weight, and they said it for shock value.
Yes, it is
what it
shock,
felt like.
Shock comedy is what it was. It was, and like we said, I think after we watch it, not to fault the makers and say that everybody involved in this is a terrible person for doing it. It was a completely different time. Those, unfortunately, were the societal norms on television and what you could do and say and get away with. But it's aged poorly in that aspect. That's you wouldn't see that shit today, thankfully.
It's like Tom Green, but mean.
Yeah, right.
Jamie?
Honestly, that basically the slurs that were used throughout the entire movie and the
fat phobia,
disgust of fat people, the absolute fat phobia, and those two things are huge in the movie, and they are hugely ugly.
Fat jokes are my first ugly. I put fat jokes. Explain the joke to me. When they have that larger girl come out and he's got to lift her up and he's a skinnier guy. Oh, explain the joke to me. What's the joke? Is the joke that she's fat? Okay, why is that funny? Because fat people are gross? Hell, they use the slime sound effect when she gets up off the ground. It's like, as she's and it's just, that's a fucking human being. And you realize how many people watching this movie have bodies that are similarly shaped to the character that you're making everybody in the theater mock. Think about being like a larger person and going to a fucking movie with your friends, and imagine being a 16-year-old teenage girl or an 18-year-old girl, and you're at the theater with your friends, and all of your friends are openly laughing at a character just for existing and looking like you. Your existence walking around is just a fucking joke to everybody else because you're too fucking fat and ugly. Oh, I hate that right off the bat. When I saw that, I was like, I am sorry, Mike. I can't help but draw attention to this. Very
beginning of the movie, unfortunately.
It's the first scene we see that has any kind of humor to it. It's the first joke that they build up. And it's not just a 2-second joke. No, it's a good minute scene that they spend. And the whole point of the joke is that, haha, look at this fat woman. Fat girl. She's supposed to be a teenager. So, Jesus Christ. And they give her braces and pigtails, and they just make her just a parody, like, in a million ways. And,
it's rough.
And on top of it all, like, that's the good guys. Like, we see White from the beginning making fun of fat people. Like, right from go, the movie starts out with him making fun of fat people.
Yeah.
And he's the bad guy. But then you take and the good guys are also making fun of fat people. And how does that work? How is it okay for you, but not for him?
The movie is telling you through the language of the medium that these are the acceptable people to laugh at.
Yeah.
That was gross to me. And everything kind of bleeds from there. Like, all of these edgy jokes. That's what it makes me think of. Like, oh, who's the edgiest boy? Who's the edgiest? That it felt they were competing to try to get the more edgy jokes. And again, it's a product of its time. Maybe this is the things that they felt like they had to do in 2004. Well, I gotta tell you, watching it right now, it was fucking gross. It was hard for me to watch because they were. I felt like I couldn't get comfortable because anytime I was getting comfortable, somebody would make another joke. And here's another thing where it's hard for me to get. You all are like, Ben Stiller, it's easy to laugh at him. And I'm like, he's making the same sexist jokes as everybody else. So you're laughing at what he does it, but we're not laughing at when the other guys do it.
No.
And like
specific lines of his made me laugh. They weren't the ones that were sexist, and they weren't the ones that were fatphobic. They were the stupid ones, like nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Who else's blood are you gonna bleed?
Yeah, I mean, and so like I'm just to fill out the rest of my ugly column, just Ben Stiller's character in general. I found no redeeming qualities. If you don't get into the cringe humor, then he is just a ball of toxic masculinity, insecurity, homophobia, probably racism and bigotry. Horrible boss that abuses the shit out of his employees. Everything about him. Every time he was on the screen, I just hated it, except for the fucking moped with the 2 thumbs up.
You're talking about my favorite character in the movie, and you've described him 100% accurately.
I mean, you're not supposed to like him, so
yeah, I know, but it's so over the top that it's just.
I think the thing that encapsulates the sort of attitude of this movie, more than anything else, is the final gay joke is that, oh, she's kissing a woman, she is a lesbian. She's like, no, tee-hee-hee, I'm bi. It's like, oh, you're acceptable gay. Okay, that's a woman who is bisexual. Right. You're acceptable gay. That's not good.
Even acceptable.
Yeah, first off, right. Imagine that the other way around, where he goes and kisses a guy, and then he comes back and says, no, don't worry, I'm bisexual. Most women leads, especially at this time, would back away from the kiss like, ew. And it's automatically assumed as somebody that, like, well, I'm pansexual, but bisexual, pansexual, there is a lot of overlap there, and I'm not getting into the nuances of that conversation right now, but as somebody that's pansexual, I find that it is a weird type of biphobia when people automatically assume that just because I'll sleep with people of different genders, that means I'm going to be cheating on people and I'm just a slut. I mean, I happen to be a slut too, but that's just a coincidence. That has nothing to do with the fact that I'm bi.
Like, you can't trust somebody just because they're bi or pan, because they're going to sleep with anybody. No, they still have preferences and standards and things of that nature.
It's so prominent that you see it all the time in like LGBTQIA plus forums and stuff like that. It's a known trope that bisexual people consider that, oh, you're just greedy, you'll just sleep with anybody kind of thing. It's like, no, we still have standards. But the meme going around, I was just quoting the meme where it is, just because you think that all bisexual people are sluts doesn't mean I'm a slut. Well, are you a slut? Yeah, but it's not because I'm bisexual.
Right.
So yeah, that's all of my ugly. Yep. You all done with your uglies?
It just encompasses the whole movie. Yeah. That's the issue.
So let's do our 3 questions before we ask our final question. I love the way I do my math there. The first question is, if this movie had a promotional popcorn bucket, what would it look like?
The luck of the Irish sign.
The treasure chest box at the end? That's an easy one. That says Deus Ex Machina.
I can see that. Yeah. And you advertise it right as soon as the person's sitting down that there's a Deus Ex Machina. That would actually be a tongue-in-cheek joke that I would get behind. I was thinking the Dodgeball. That seems like the most obvious, but yeah, I like the Deus Ex Machina because some intelligent people in the theater will pick up on that.
I like the look of the Irish sign because it's just so obscure, but a huge part of the
movie. If you do that one, then you have to have like the crushed legs and arms or whatever sticking out underneath as part of the sculpt.
Yeah, like the Wicked Witch.
Inserted plastic shape of a wheelchair underneath.
Yeah, crushed.
Yeah. Now, I will say that if this kind of promotional bucket happened, I might find myself keeping the Luck of the Irish, especially if it had somebody crushed underneath. That would be one that I would put on my shelf. If we replaced the entire cast with Muppets but kept one human, who would be the human?
Ben Stiller.
Yes. Watching Ben Stiller constantly macking on Miss Piggy the entire movie and then getting his ass kicked by the Muppets throughout the movie. Now that
might change your...
That might have... Yes, you do that and you remove all the fucking random homophobia and fatphobia, and that is a movie this could easily be an A-tier movie for me.
Getting really frustrated and mad at the Muppets, like trying, playing dodgeball and like really wanting to get one over on those fucking Muppets. Like, I'm going to steal your gym, Kermit, like, why?
And see, I went with Patches. Patches O'Houlihan is the only human.
That would also be interesting.
Yep. Then it basically just becomes the Muppet Dodgeball movie, and I'm down for that too. That's fucking great. But I mean, when you put Ben Stiller in the role, it does make me think that the whole movie, he becomes the star of the movie then.
Right.
But he basically, it's like Passion of the Christ, but...
Why do you do this?
Okay. I mean, I guess.
I'm just stop right there. I don't know how to... you all know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, so the final question we have is, who is our MVP for this movie?
You
Who's
go
the most
first,
valuable
Kelly.
person?
Let's hear from you first.
I'm going to say Christine... what's her name? Taylor?
That's just because you have a crush on her.
Marsha.
That's just because
Absolutely. Well, and honestly, like, she's one of the more redeeming characters in the whole show. Like, Alan Tudyk was amazing. So if anybody says Alan Tudyk, you kind of get a half a vote from me on that. But and the fact that she did this like 18 months after, I mean, that S&M scene, we all know why that was put in, right? I mean, that was put in so that we get to see Marsha in pretty much a bikini, a leather bikini.
Yeah.
And I mean, that right there, it's a little bit of, anyways.
Is that in your good column?
I no, I wouldn't. I mean, did I pause at that screen when I watched it later? Yes. But is it a good thing? No. Me pausing it there is also in the bad column. I just don't mention it on the pod.
That's pretty funny.
So who's your MVP, Jamie?
I'm going with Justin Long. Like the physicality of his comedy.
The guy too stupid to remember another name.
Yeah,
we're all going to be at odds with each other's MVPs. I
think. But he's also he's just sweet and innocent in the movie, and he I don't know, he sells his part pretty well, I think, and I really enjoy him.
Yeah, I mean, he got this movie because of his part in Galaxy Quest. And he was kind of the same character in both. Maybe that. Let's see if I'm curious if his character's name is Justin in Galaxy Quest 2, because that might end might add some credence. But no, but he does have that nerdy, endearing, very
like
genuine but awkward.
He's the slapstick version of a Michael Cera.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's. There's always this prototype of nerdy, awkward guy, and before Michael Cera was around, this guy was that, or I don't know. Michael Cera came later, or same time.
Yeah,
anyway,
I mean,
they're the same time.
Around this time is when Michael Cera showed up.
So he's the Temu Michael Cera.
He's just.
Yeah. All right, and those are our 3 questions. Now is the only question
Hey, excuse me.
Wait,
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
So my MVP is actually Ben Stiller. His character is the only thing that made this movie watchable for me. I know that he's not supposed to be a good person, and I'm not an android, so I'm able to parse those 2 bits of information and compartmentalize them separately. So.
Justin Long's name in Galaxy Quest was Brandon,
Down
so he
with
can
sexism, down
answer
with
to answer
status
other
quo. Keith supports sexism.
Nope, I don't. I recognize that he's a horrible person, and that's what I enjoy about the character, is how outlandishly Ben Stiller has portrayed.
I get you, and that's why if I was into cringe, I could see myself agreeing with you. I can see why. It's like people that can't eat cilantro looking in the window and going, I can see that y'all are enjoying yourself. It just tastes like fucking soap to me.
He literally is what made this movie watchable while we were watching it. It was like when the shit was coming out and the slurs were flying, I was like, at least I know I get to see Ben Stiller again. That was my train of thought.
Imagine would you feel the same way if he won the ending and the bad guy won?
Yeah. Yes, that's my.
That's everybody's MVPs now, right? Did we get it all?
Yes, now we got it all.
Yeah.
All right. So the only question that matters.
Don't act like you weren't trying to skip him on purpose.
The only question that really matters is: did you enjoy the movie, and would you give it a thumbs up?
You really want to do this? Here. Now? Yes. Okay. Let's do it.
I'm totally going to be the unpopular one here. I will give it a thumbs up because it did make me laugh, and I have a lot of nostalgia with this film. It does feel a lot different than it did when I watched it the first time. There is definitely a lot of problematic stuff in it. It's a little cringe to watch that part of it now, but I love the characters. I love the cast.
so you hate Conan because it has so much sexism in it. Blade Runner was an unwatchable piece of trash because of the sexism in it. But this gets a pass. I'm just understanding that.
At least I can laugh at this one. Neither one of those had jokes to laugh at.
Let the court show the record of the previous questions.
I gotta put my foot is slightly in over the line into Kelly's column on this one, Jamie, because that's
I told you it was going to be unpopular.
controversial.
At least I can laugh at this one. I couldn't even laugh at those two.
No, I mean, part of me appreciates this statement going there on the record, because when we do it in defense of Blade Runner, I will have it. Well, I let the court know that we.
Why are we doing it in defense of a movie we've already seen?
You know, we be defended.
We can relitigate anytime. There's no double jeopardy in the court of Screen Share and Chill. But yeah, I get you.
So that I do. It is definitely not the same as watching it when I was in my 20s, because as we've learned, when you know better, you do better. And there's a lot of jokes here that don't hit anymore.
Hear, hear.
Mm-hmm. So Keith,
this one is surprisingly, and I didn't expect it to be, a thumbs down from me. I don't think I will ever watch this movie again in my life, which is so weird, because when Mike recommended it, I was like, oh, Dodgeball! I haven't seen that in forever. I love that movie. That was my initial thought, and I guess it maybe in the back of my head there's a reason that I haven't watched this movie in 20 years, because most of it is just empty calories. Yeah, there's if you look real hard, you'll find some non-problematic jokes that'll make you laugh, but you have to kind of wade through shit to get to them, it seems, and just it's no longer for me. It was for me at one time. I have grown. I have changed. It's now a thumbs down from me. What about you, Kelly?
Yeah, it's a thumbs down. I had a very similar experience to you, Keith, that I watched this movie back in the day, and I found it to be funny at the time, but also I was a drunk at the time, so that might be a part of it. I'm just saying, like, my life was very different then, we'll say. It's 20 years ago now, 21 years ago. So I went into this going, oh, this is going to be fun. I like Dodgeball. I like sports movies, even if I know what the outcome's going to be and they're a little cheesy. I get into this. And then the blatant fat phobia slapped me in the face right away, and then the sexism that just got through. And then I realized that this is one of those cringe humor movies. And as time has progressed in my life, I find myself identifying less and less with them. Like, for example, a lot of Will Ferrell movies I can't get into. I can watch Elf, but I can't watch Step Brothers. I can't watch the Talladega Nights or whatever. That doesn't work as well for me. So, like, I have a real weird line of movies that I can and can't really get into, and this is, unfortunately, across that line, so it gets a thumbs down from me.
Yep.
I'm just going to say that the argument that the sexism is not okay in this movie, but it's okay in Conan and Blade Runner goes both ways, buds.
She's been sitting on that, waiting for it to...
The point that I'm making, too, with that is that with this movie, even if I suspend my dislike of the sexism and the fat phobia, even if I, say, okay, it's a product of its time, so did I enjoy the media as it is? No, because I don't get into cringe humor. That's the whole point that I was making, that I even tried to cut that fat off, because I know that there are going to be jokes like, try watching Blazing Saddles, try watching a lot of Caddyshack, watch a lot of movies from the 80s, 70s, even 90s. You get a lot of just subtle and blatant racism, so sometimes you do cut that out and try to analyze what's going on behind the scene, or in the rest of the movie, and even when I did that with this one, I couldn't do it. So sorry, Mike. Yeah.
You should have picked Tropic Thunder or Basketball.
Oh, Jesus. Imagine doing Tropic Thunder. We'd have to talk about
at least have something. Yeah, at least we'd have something meaty to talk about. Like, this was just ugly.
I think that you're talking about Basketball. I think Basketball would be exactly the same if you watched it again.
I worry that we would.
I
worry that we would.
Curious.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker have a tendency of, like, skirting that line in a socially acceptable way. Oddly, like, South Park may mock something that you believe in, but they never go, like, they never go full slur, we'll just say. So, and this movie crossed that line in a way that I don't remember South Park doing as blatantly and openly. It like having your hero do it unquestioned, that kind of stuff, where it's like, you know, but I mean, I would be curious to see.
The good guys do
And
it.
yeah, so even if we cut that out, it didn't quite work for us as well as we hoped it would. So yeah, and we tried, Mike. I was just speaking from myself too. I was going into this really looking forward to it, and as much as we joke about what if somebody recommends a movie we hate and we shit all over it, that's not what we wanted to do. You know, we didn't want to come on here and
First time, the first time it happened.
I'm sorry,
not all of us did.
I appreciate the effort. Hopefully, we'd like to hear your thoughts. Anybody listening to this, tell us what you thought of Dodgeball. Are we being too critical of the jokes of the time? Are we not putting enough effort into that? Like, what do you think?
Mike, send me your defensive statement.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to hear because there is a part of me that's like, are you being too woke, quote unquote, when you're taking these horrible, like, do you do the same thing when you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or do you just assume all these people are kind of rotten pieces of shit and you roll with it? You know, there are some nuanced conversations to have there, and it just, like I said, even if you cut that fat out of it, the actual meat of the story didn't work as well for me too. So next time we're going to be coming back next week with Aliens. Oh wait, no.
Oh, I think there's something else we have to watch, right?
No.
No.
Oh,
no.
Oh yes, there was. We were going to do a listener request of.
No.
What was that movie we talked about a year ago?
Alien Resurrection.
I'm sure we can think of something, Jamie.
I swear somebody gave us $50 to watch something other than
Resurrection
Alien.
was the next movie we were watching, and you'd have to drag me out of the room in chains.
What if we showed up and Jamie and I both gave our good, bad, and ugly of...
I can't... You see, this is what happens. You see what happens? You have me going this hard for Alien Resurrection now, which is probably not the best one in the series, and you have me championing it because I just want to watch it.
And you know, we can hear how much you want to, so that gives us, you're giving us the power, Keith. You are giving up the power by doing that. Anyways, I still enjoyed watching this. I appreciated Mike's recommendation. I certainly enjoyed a good conversation with y'all. Everybody brought up some good points. Even the ones we disagreed on, I enjoyed hearing a different perspective on it. If you have things to say, let us know.
I enjoyed watching a movie that made me laugh a few times.
Yeah.
We've been watching some heavier
I got
movies.
a couple
like
laughs
we
out
went
of
from
it,
Lord
so.
of the Rings to Aliens to and Mummy had some funny moments, but not quite as many. But anyways,
It's just a little more serious, a little heavier.
exactly. So those were our thoughts.
Go drink some more coffee, Cal.
For Screen Share and Chill, I'm Kelly.
I'm Keith.
I'm Jamie.
See you later. Don't throw wrenches at strangers and don't throw slurs around.
Or your friends.
Yep.
Or your
Well, I mean,
friends.
But do drink your own urine because it's sterile.
Hey, what you do in a consenting environment with wrenches and friends, that's none of our business.
And that thing you do is drink your own urine. Goodbye.
You go down the floor. You're going down like a sweet muffin.
Another time. Another time.
You stop the floor. That's great. Go ahead, make your jokes, mister. Jokey. Joke maker. Let me hit you with some knowledge. You should quit now and save yourself the embarrassment